So everyone keeps saying that the job market is really strong. There's jobs everywhere. But the newest report tells us a little more complicated story. And I feel like people like you and I know the job market isn't as strong as the media portrays. So in February, the United States lost a total of 92,000 jobs. Now the unemployment rate sits at 4.4%, which looks pretty darn good on the surface. But when you dig into this unemployment report, things start to look a little bit different. So this report actually shows that some sectors in the economy are actually starting to shrink their workforce. So the information sector, which is the tech jobs and the media jobs, are actually starting to lose workers. And this is probably due to the AI implementation a lot of companies have been working on the past 2 years. Starting to replace workers with AI like we've talked about before. Their federal government employment also trended down last month. Even healthcare jobs shrank last month due to the nursing strike demanding higher pay, better staffing, etc. But one of the most interesting parts of this unemployment report is something that most people don't ever even hear about. And that's that right now there's about 6 million people who say they want a job but aren't counted as unemployed. So they want to work, but they aren't actively seeking a job, and therefore they don't even show up on unemployment reports. They're just basically sitting on the sidelines. And even more shocking, about 10% of men in their prime working years, which is probably age 25 to 45, about 10% of those middle-aged men, if you will, aren't even seeking a job. They're just sitting on the sidelines. They're basically out of the workforce, which is pretty scary. So with all that being said, when you hear that unemployment is only about 4%, remember there are still millions and millions of people basically just sitting on the sidelines, not even looking for a job, just hanging out at their house. So reading on into the unemployment report, another number that caught my attention was the long-term unemployment figure. So about 2 million people have been out of work for 6 months or more, which is crazy. And that number is much higher than just a year ago. And that usually means that when somebody loses a job, it takes them at least 6 months before they find a new position, which could be a telltale sign where we're at in the economy today. But enough with the bad news, but here's some good news. The part that nobody really even talks about, while some white-collar positions are shrinking, they're starting to slow down hiring, there's still a ton of blue-collar jobs out there that companies cannot fill. So like I always talk about on this channel, jobs such as electricians, I&E tech, refinery workers, heavy equipment operators, you name it. A lot of these industries, companies are still struggling to fill these open positions, and that's why they're having to pay overtime to the current workers because they just can't find people to fill the vacant positions. So you've got this weird situation in the economy right now where some sectors of the economy are shrinking due to technology advances, AI, and just a kind of mediocre economy, if you will, while other sectors are still desperately seeking qualified workers. Now, if you're trying to find a job in an economy that feels kind of uncertain, here are a few things that can really help you out. So if you're trying to find a job in an economy that feels kind of uncertain, here are a few things that can help. So number one, first, focus on skills that are actually in demand. A lot of companies right now aren't just hiring degrees, they're hiring for skills. Things like electrical work, welding, instrumentation, heavy equipment operator, even some tech jobs are very in-demand jobs that pay really well in 2026. So second, be willing to start somewhere and build experience. So a lot of high-paying blue-collar careers start with entry-level positions such as apprenticeships, trainee roles, if you will. The people that are making six figures in these industries didn't start there. They didn't start there from day one. They learned, they gained skills, and they got a pay raise over time. They basically worked their way up to making the six figures. So the third tip to finding a good job in 2026 is that networking is crucial. It's all about who you know and not what you know. That will at least get you in the door for an interview. Some of the best jobs out there never even get posted online. A lot of these jobs are small business. They want to know their candidates up front. Knowing somebody in that job, even in that company, will at least get you in the door. Maybe even get you an interview, and the rest is up to you. And the fourth tip is the really tough one, and that is be flexible with your location or schedule if you can. So some of the best opportunities right now are industries that run 24/7. Those are the jobs that offer overtime, which will get you ahead financially way quicker than just working 9 to 5, 40 hours a week. Like energy, manufacturing, utilities, shift work and overtime aren't always glamorous. It's terrible being tired and working night shift and shift work, but it pays well. And they can open the door for some very solid careers, very good retirement plans, things like that. So be open with your schedule and even work location. So the good news is, if the job market feels a little tight right now, just hang tight. I believe when interest rate starts to tick down after this Iran-US war conflict thing, I believe they will start to lower interest rates, which will basically expand the United States economy. So high interest rates slow down things like construction, business expansion, and investment. But if interest rates start to come down in the future, that could help businesses grow again, start hire more people. Businesses start to be created, if you will, and then expand their workforce. So the job market might feel a little uncertain right now, but depending on the skills you have and the industries you're in, there's still a lot of opportunities out there. So with all that being said, I know it's tough out there if you're looking for a job in 2026. We got AI taking our white collar jobs, and then we got, higher interest rates discouraging companies from wanting to expand. But again, if I were you, I would get out there, find out who works in my trade or skill or company that I want to work for, get to know them, ask questions, act interested. Maybe if you're having trouble, if months have gone by and you haven't got a job yet, you're applying online on a day-to-day basis, etc., to all those jobs that are posted on all the job pages, Indeed, that type of thing. That's great, but get out there and learn a new skill, a new trade. There's a lot of community colleges offer welding courses, electrical courses for free. If you got free time, why not? Make yourself more valuable to these companies. And when you land these good paying jobs, be sure to invest, save for retirement, and just be smart with your money, right? And I'll see you again next week.